episode of the Clapp Trap. We have brought back Coach Camire to talk all things Patriots to start off the show. We'll get into a little bit of Celtics topics as well to finish things off. We got an interesting one in this one. We're coming off of the Patriots loss to the Packers in overtime. A lot of people thinking that it wasn't going to go that way. I think the spread going into it was -9.5 for the Packers, so they thought it was going to be a blowout win. Patriots able to hold their own in this one, tie the thing up, send it to overtime, even with your third string quarterback. So Coach Camire, first of all, how you doing? But secondly, were you surprised that the Patriots were able to stay in this one against the Packers team that has Aaron Rodgers and a dominant defense?
Oh, I'm doing good. And I mean, I was very surprised that this was even a game to begin with. I thought the Packers were like, I thought it was still Aaron Rodgers. He was going to come in there. I think like the first play of the game, he hit like some nasty throw to Alan Lazard crossing the field. And I was like, he's just going to do that to us all game. Like, that's what I thought going in. But we ended up getting some stops early in the game. We, even when Hoyer was out there at the very beginning, he wasn't doing anything tremendously awful like we had seen him from before. He was like, operating the offense, running the football, throwing the play action, doing the thing. And then obviously when he got hurt, you got the young kid in there. He had to hop in, if you've ever played sports before, I mean, it's just like that happens to you. It's like, that's how like I got to play the first time when I was in high school. I remember somebody gets hurt and you got to go in there for the first time and you're like, you know what I mean? Like on the NFL level, I bet that feeling is even more crazy. Like, that must be like a next level feeling in that moment. So for him to, bottle up all those emotions and like, obviously operate the offense pretty sufficiently. Like we didn't really miss a beat, from what I saw with Hoyer to when he came in. He's able to, make the handoffs, make the, correct calls at the line, everything like that. And then when he had to, when we were in situations where we had to throw the ball, he didn't kill us in that game. He threw the nice one to Devontae Parker crossing the field, got it out to him. He's wide open, but got it out to him. Made a play after the catch. It was like he made another play like on the 10-yard out over on the sideline. Like he was making throws all throughout the game. But the thing is, you could tell that the offense, whether it's Patricia or Belichick or whoever is calling the shots over there, we're saying, let's keep this extremely basic. Let's really just give him the dumbed down water version of the offense. And like, let's just like try to keep this game in hand. Yep. So to me, like, I would agree with all the decisions that were made by the Patriots going up until halftime. Like when the game was tied at 24-24 right there, I'm like, okay, like now we're playing for overtime. I like this. Like I think our defense is playing good, and they were. And we get out there in overtime and we stop them. We get the ball back with a great punt return that puts us in the 50-yard line, and all we need is a field goal. We have Nick Folk, who doesn't miss from beyond 40 yards or whatever.
Or within 50.
Within 40. I'm just saying, dude doesn't miss. So it's like, bro, like this is cake. This is easy. This is run the damn ball 4 plays in a row, and you're going to get 2.5 yards of play if you have to. Like, this should be 4 down. Like, we're going to win the game. Like, that should have been, like, the mentality. We're going to win the game. Because, like, if you give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers in any way, shape, or form in that game, no matter what, the game was over. You would lost. Like, that's how I feel. So, like, if I get the ball there in the NFL in overtime, you got to be thinking, like, this is 4 down territory. We have to get this field goal or the game's over. You have to play for the win. I think he was at that point, Belichick at that point was saying, oh, let's try to play for the tie. Like, let's just try to be real conservative here. And let's call, like, just, I don't know, just like, plays that didn't need to be called at that situation, at that time. Like, you have Damien, you have Ramondre running the ball well all day. And you're just like, I think it was like second down through the play action pass. I was like, dude, just run it like 3 times, and if we have to throw it on 4th down, we will. But like, It should have been
Well, that's
four
the
down.
problem. That's the problem. They weren't going to throw it down on fourth down. They weren't going to go for it on fourth down. They were very conservative. Like you said, you nailed it with that. I mean, and to be honest, I got to say this to any Patriots fan out there. You shouldn't be surprised by the fact that we were that conservative with the third string quarterback. You saw it all last year with Mac Jones. New quarterbacks, they're just not going to trust him no matter what, no matter how good he's played up until that point. If he's made a few throws, if he's whatever he's done, they're just not going to trust him at that point. So that was actually one of my points about the entire thing. I'm happy that Zappe was able to go in there and hold his own. And yes, the run game was a big portion of that. And if it wasn't for Isaiah Wynn, he probably wouldn't have even had that fumble that he ended up losing. But this coaching staff obviously had no confidence in him. So at the end of the day, I think that if Hoyer was still in there in that overtime period, they were more likely to actually go for it on fourth down just because they have faith in him. Trust me, I don't understand why, other than the fact that he's just been in the system forever. But I feel like they would have probably more likely to go for it if Hoyer had been in there instead of Zappe on 4th and 5 with, like you said, it was winning time. It was ready to go. If you give the ball back to the Packers, it's over. They gave it back to him because they didn't want to go for it with Zappe.
You know what? You made a good point there, and I feel like this game was very reminiscent of our Week 4 game, like last year against Tampa Bay, where this like similar scenario I feel like happened. Yep. Like almost the exact same scenario, if we're being real. So it's like in that situation, like we expected them to like do more when Mac had the ball and like driving. All you need is a field goal with it. You know what I mean? Like all we had to do is. And we couldn't do it. We gave Tom Brady the ball. Like, dude, I was like, game over. It's the same thing. It was like the exact same thing with Aaron Rodgers here. So you're giving the ball back to him. But to your point, I don't think that so I'm saying, even if it was Brian Hoyer, even if it was Cam Newton in there, I think Belichick is just like in some of these games nowadays, like he's just not really like he doesn't without Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady's the only person he probably would have gone with on fourth down with. Like, without Tom Brady, I think he's just played a much more conservative style of football.
I agree with that, but I think that even now at this point, we're getting closer to the point in Mac Jones's career where he's going to trust him to go out there and try and do something. Just even being a second year into the system, I think that they're more likely to trust him at this point. I get it. They're probably going to stay conservative, but by year 3, more likely, by year 4, more likely. So I think with Hoyer in the system, as much as we're all screaming, no, don't do it. It's Brian Hoyer. He sucks. I think that they would have been more comfortable to try and go for the win in that scenario because it was Brian Hoyer in the system, regardless of what he did against the Chiefs when he got in there that year with Cam Newton and everything and looked like a complete bozo. I think that would have been, they would have had more trust in him. So anybody who's surprised that they didn't go for it with Bailey Zappe, they're not going to do that with any new quarterback. They've proven that time and time again. That's just what it is. So as frustrating as you want it to be, that's just going to be the answer to all their whenever it's a new quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, like that's my thing is like if I'm Bill Belichick in that scenario, and I have a rookie quarterback who's out of Western Kentucky, who's never played football before in the NFL, and he goes out there and throws an ill-advised interception on that last drive, no one's really coming for Bill's neck. It's a third string. What do you want me to do, bro? It's third string quarterback, bro. Like if my like high school third string quarterback went out there tomorrow, it's like what are we gonna do, bro?
He doesn't care.
It's third string. You know what I mean? So it's like at that point, like why wouldn't you risk a little bit more and like try to like really put the defense on its heels rather than just like doing what we did at the end of the game.
Bill isn't looking at it that way. Bill's looking at it like he's still more confident in his defense than he is in his young quarterback that he just drafted in the 4th round, has no faith in him. And, even if he did, some points of that offensive line, like I said, Isaiah Wynn, when you got him out there, he's not giving you any protection. So, I don't know. What are you supposed to do at that point? It's kind of crazy. But then also, if I'm being honest, the thing that I had even more of a problem with was when we did give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, they played complete off defense in the corners and just gave Aaron Rodgers a million yards of just paper cutting us to death. It was ridiculous. The corners are playing back. They're not pressing up. I didn't understand what was going on. So that I actually had more of a problem with that.
Bro, that's Aaron Rodgers in a 2-minute like end of games. Dude, we had no chance. As soon as we gave that ball back, I was all right. We can turn.
That's fine, but play bump and run coverage against these subpar receivers that they have. They don't have any good receivers. Aaron Rodgers can be as good as he wants, but if the receivers can't get off the line because you play up in their face, that changes the whole ball game. To me, that's where you get more aggressive, or that's where you take more of a risk. Go and bump those receivers. Don't play back and give him 8 yards, 7 yards, and then they just walk down the field on us.
All right, I agree with that, but it's like if we had those guys to do that, like I think they would do that. But you don't have Jalen Mills out there. You don't have Adrian Phillips out there. You don't have.
What about Jack Jones?
You don't have Malcolm Butler out there. That's what I'm saying. You name Jack Jones, who's
don't give me Malcolm.
More of like
he's a bum.
I'm just saying, like if I was playing bump and run, I would want Malcolm Butler to be out there. He's a bump and run guy.
Yeah.
But Jack Jones, like to your point, he's more of like a zone corner. Like, you know what I mean? The play he made was very like zone play. So it's like, I don't know if he's necessarily the guy you want on Adam Lazard face to face with when Adam Lazard's a much bigger physical body. It's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like maybe they were better off just kind of let him like let him try to nickel and dime down the field, and maybe he was going to have some ill-advised throws like he did earlier in the game. But I mean, you know that man Aaron Rodgers is cold, so he's going to go in there at the end of the game there, just friggin'.
All I'm saying is, if you didn't have any trust in your third string quarterback to do it, and you were going to play conservative there, then you got to have trust in your defense and try and do something aggressive on that side. You can't be conservative on both sides. Then obviously you're going to lose, regardless of who the quarterback is.
That's what I'm saying by saying. That's what I'm saying by playing for the tie, bro. Like we played for the tie.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was the case. But I already brought up the other thing that I want to start off the show with here, and that's Jack Jones and how great he was. Obviously, coming out party for him. Now we're seeing all these things, which I take this for what it is. Like Pro Football Focus is rating him as one of the highest cornerbacks right now, and things like that. And it's just because he had one great game. But come out party for him. Obviously had that great pick six where he just jumps right in front of the route. Great read by him. You have the other play where he's stripping a guy and jumping on the ball to get the recovery as well. You saw him at other times in the game trying to go for that ball, trying to rip it out, having that mentality, and he made a few good tackles as well. So from what you saw from Jack Jones and from what you saw from Bailey Zappe, are you more excited about Jack Jones or are you more excited about Bailey Zappe and what he's done?
Okay, all right. Let us talk about Jack Jones for a second. So, Jack Jones is from what college?
I don't even
know. Exactly. People will talk shit about Belichick's and his ability to draft, like, still a cow come on. They'll be like, oh, like, his drafts are borrowed. He can't, he's missed on all these drafts. But time and time again, my man always is just able to pull a corner out of just wherever the heck he's Houston or
was it game. Like let's not get too Western, crazy, but
who knows? We're just pulling this dude. Like he probably saw that he had great instincts. He is a turnover machine. He's a good size, good speed, like good athleticism. Like like the kid just looks. The first time I seen him out there, I was like, when he made that pick six, I was like, I feel like I've never seen anything about Jack Jones before, and he's just an absolute freak.
It goes back to the whole he's not going to play him because he's too early in the system thing. And the only reason why he got played was because, like you said, Jalen Mills was out. That's the only reason, right? So,
yep.
I mean, it's nice to see. It's also nice to see like Marcus Jones as well getting out there, at least in the special teams aspect, and taking things away from Miles Bryant, who we complained about before. But no, I think that there's a chance that he may have these maybe at least decent players that Bill Belichick actually drafted at the cornerback position. So it is interesting. But do you think that he's legit at all, or do you think it's kind of like we got to wait and see thing?
I mean, I don't know if he's if you can't like label a guy as like legit or like certified like lockdown until he's covered like Devontae Adams or like who like.
Right.
Is Ahmad St. Brown playing this week? If he is, like that's a good matchup for him early. Like
questionable.
You know what I mean? Like you're going up against one of the best, and like that kid Ahmad St. Brown was going nuts the first couple weeks of the season. So, once he's got like some like street credibility and he's gone up against like, the top of the tops, like then you can really assess and like be like, okay, he's this type of guy, he's this type of guy, So
Right.
I think he's a good right now. Like he made a good first impression. Now it's like see what he can build off with, or just a one-hit wonder.
Well, I'm just hoping that creates a little bit more of a role for him. You can see how it's on
Yeah.
certain points, and like you said, he is a zone coverage type of guy. You can see him maybe trying to go for more interceptions now that he's gotten a taste of it, and maybe making some bonehead plays. So that could take his role back if that does happen. But I want to see a little more out of him, whether it's because of injury or not. I just, in all honesty, I've been just banging the drum all season of get Miles Bryant less snaps. So go ahead and give it to a Jack Jones or give it to Marcus Jones or whoever, somebody else, give them an opportunity. It's going to be much better for this team overall, I think. But you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what he's going to be. It was a quick first time, good first impression, like you said. That's a great way to put it. And obviously had the best game he's going to have probably all season in this one. But you hope that he's going to be able to give you a little more. Now, the other side of that coin, of the question that I asked, though, are you excited about Bailey Zappe at all? I mean, we're going to probably at this point have to have him starting for at least one more week, even though Mac Jones was out in practice this week, hobbling around on that ankle, but probably not going to go. Are you excited about the Bailey Zappe stuff? Where are you at with that whole thing? Because I feel like people have been like all over the place emotionally with him.
Yeah, man, dude. Bailey Zappe, bro. Like, if you're listening to this, you can hear me, bro. Like, let's make sure that you're like, if you like, this is your chance to be like Tom Brady. Like, this is your chance. You can come at. This is how it happened, bro.
No one's going to be Tom Brady ever,
dude. Bailey Zappe.
So you got the Zappe fever. You're not worrying. You're being Zappe.
Like, what if he comes in next week? All right. Imagine a scenario like this. Next 3 games, right? Next 3 games. Bailey Zappe goes 3-0. And now what are we? We would be what?
4-3.
4 the winning record. And then Mac Jones comes back.
And
we lose a couple games.
Oh, stop. First of all, if he goes 3-0, he's going 3-0 against the Lions, who have the worst defense in the entire league right now. The Browns, who don't even have a quarterback, they're going with Jacoby Brissett. And then do we play the Jets right after that? If he wins against those teams, I'm giving him no credit to that. I don't think that means anything to do with Bailey Zappe. It has all to do with the coaching and the team and the defense and all that kind of stuff. Because whatever, this Bailey Zappe mania that's happening right now, and any kind of comparisons to, oh, maybe he'll be the next Tom Brady, is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. He is not going to be good. If anything, I want this kid to just show good so that we can go and trade him, because he is not going to be the future quarterback of the Patriots. That's Mac Jones. I'm not going to tell you that Mac Jones is a stud or anything like that, but he's a heck of a lot better than Bailey Zappe is ever going to be. I'm just going to say that right now. I have no faith in Bailey
bro. Dude, did you see this man's like passing statistics in college?
Oh yeah, dude, wait, 6,000 yards and 50 touchdowns or whatever ridiculous thing he did.
69 touchdowns. Dude,
cool.
Dude, those numbers, that's video game numbers. Like,
so does everybody in college gets that.
I don't think Mac Jones had numbers like that, and he had way better numbers.
That's fair, but he probably.
I'm saying if there's one thing that this young quarterback is good at, it is throwing the football. He has a gifted arm. If he's able to do that on a Division I college field, whether it's Western Kentucky or Alabama, if you can do that on a Division I college field against other Division I football players, your arm talent is probably second to none. So he might have a better arm than Mac Jones. Now, just because he has a better arm than Mac Jones doesn't mean he will necessarily be a better quarterback than Mac Jones. Mac Jones might be a better quarterback because he knows how to make better reads, and he knows, the intricacies of, line and protection calls, and like that might be where Mac Jones has a step ahead right now in the whole developmental process of the quarterbacks. But I would say that Bailey Zappe, if you have a crazy arm talent and you're able to get down the part of it that Mac has, now you're one of those guys. You're one of those guys in the NFL who has crazy arm talent and can make all these line and protection calls and do and run an NFL offense, not just a spread offense that you probably had when you were in college. So that's my opinion on the take. You know what I mean? I think that Bailey Zappe is a very gifted, football player, and if he shows that he's like a high level passer in the next 3 games, having never played in the NFL before, and say he comes out each week, throws 2 to 3 touchdown passes per game. All right. I'm saying, like, what if he comes out with 9 passing touchdowns and like a pick or something in the next 3 weeks? I'm just saying, would you have the fever or not?
No, not at all. Because like I said, he'd be playing against complete bum teams. He's playing against the Lions, who are the worst defense in the league and just gave up 48 points to the Seahawks. He would play against the Browns, who have shown that they can get scored on as well, and the Jets, who don't even deserve to be in the league at times. This is ridiculous. And what I'm also hearing is the same kind of things that I actually unfortunately said back in the day with Ryan Mallett. Great job. He's got an awesome arm, and he's not going to turn out to end up being anything. So fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. It's not going to happen. Bailey Zappe is not going to be good. Like I keep saying, all I want actually, I do want to see him go out there and throw 9 touchdowns and have 1 interception, because then we could trade his ass off of this team and actually get some draft picks to help the real quarterback. That's Mac Jones.
All right, I agree with you on that. But so we're talking about Ryan Mallett for a second. Like, my man, Ryan Mallett did not have he was not a good quarterback.
He had a cannon, though.
He had a strong arm, not a good arm. Like, that shit was so inaccurate all the time. But he could throw a ball a mile line. It's like Jamarcus Russell,
from his knees, 100 yards.
Yeah.
No, he really could. That was his only good thing, though.
But with the whole Bailey Zappe thing, man, I think, let's just see what he's got. You know what I mean? Let's give him this time right now. If he's going to be in for the Pats, I'm going to be all for him.
Sure.
And let's just see what he's got. And you know what I mean? Like, my thing is, if Mac Jones starts these next 3 games for the Pats right now, like, I don't even know if I'm that confident based off what I've already seen this season.
Stop.
I just don't know if I'm that confident, because like, he's not necessarily played very well thus far. Like, that last game that he played when he got hurt, I mean, he played pretty bad.
So I want to get this out there then right now. If Bailey Zappe does go on this tear that you're predicting, or that you're saying that he could hypothetically get, if he hypothetically gets that, and then Mac is ready to go, 100% ready to go, are you telling me that you would rather start Bailey Zappe in that moment?
No, I think you start Mac Jones, because he lost his position due to an injury. But I'm saying, you forgot the last part of that was, now Mac Jones gets in there, and say we lose 2 games. What do you think the narrative? What do you think the Belichick's thinking? What do you like? That's tough, bro. Like, you're in a playoff race at that point. Like, you need wins. One kid was lighting it up. The other kid's not playing well. Yeah, they're both like the same age quarterback. They're both pretty much almost rookies, dude.
I just
want 1 year.
I haven't even isn't Bailey Zappe like a much smaller guy? Isn't he barely like 6 feet tall and like 210 or something like that? When Mac is like
Drew Brees wasn't tall. It don't matter.
Now
if you got the arm,
Drew Brees, come on.
That's who he reminds me of. Like, if you have arm talent like that, like, you know what I mean? He's a smaller guy. Like, that's exactly what I would remind me of as an NFL comparison. Crazy arm talent, like, undersized guy, can get the ball into like some tight spots. We'll see what happens.
Hey, like I said, I hope that you're right. I hope that he goes on some kind of tear, because at the end of the day, I just want the Patriots to win. And that's all that really matters to me at the end of the day. I also think if he does do that, then we could trade his butt right out of town and go and get us some draft picks and bring in some new talent for Mac Jones and the real team that's going to be here for the future. That's what I really care about. This Zappe fever stuff is ridiculous to me. And the fact that people are basing off of this one game, I'm not saying you now, but I have heard people out there basing it off this one game, saying that they would rather have Bailey Zappe in than Mac Jones, based on, like you said, how badly Mac Jones has played during the beginning. Those people are complete bozos, and I don't understand what kind of person can give that kind of a take.
No. We need to let Bailey Zappe would need to go in here and like show us that he's a gamer. If he's a gamer, we're all gonna know that. We're gonna see it. We're gonna like smell it, and like that's when the fever will really start. If he goes in there and it's just conservative and it's just like and he's just doing his thing. He's not really doing anything special. Then, yeah, of course, Max can come back and retain his spot. But like, that's why we're going to have to see. Is he a gamer? What kind of guy is he? You know, the Lions put up a lot of points. I feel like we're going to need to put up a lot of points to friggin' win this week. Let me see friggin' Bailey Zappe throw the ball fucking 45 times to see what happens.
We'll see. Well, hey, if he does, then more power to you. But what I'm going to say is it's like how in a fantasy football team, I still want my bench players to do good, even when I don't have them in my starting lineup, because I want to know that all my players are good and I have value there. So, yes, I want Bailey Zappe to be able to step in for this team and handle his own and do his thing. But is he at all, in my mind, as a possible future quarterback for this team? No, especially not based off of just one game. If you're going to tell me he's going to go on this ridiculous tear and then Mac Jones is going to come back and suck, then we can talk. But I highly doubt that.
Okay.
Highly doubt that.
But what are your thoughts, like, if it comes down to it, like, all right, we'll move forward like 5 weeks from now. Mac's back, Mac's cruising, team's doing good, good spirits, whatever. Hoyer comes back off of IR. You wouldn't want Zappe as the backup quarterback, the second string quarterback? Or are you saying that you want Hoyer to be the second string quarterback?
Well, in all honesty, and I was going to ask you this question, but I'll answer it first. If Hoyer was healthy going into this weekend, I want Hoyer starting. I don't want Bailey Zappe out there starting. I have more trust in Brian Hoyer to go out there and manage a game plan and just get us a victory. That's all I care about right now out of my backup quarterback. So in that scenario, I'm picking Hoyer.
I wish I could agree with you, but like, I just look at what we're going to have to do to win this game this week. Like, everyone thinks the Lions are just garbage and they suck. The Lions are, like, obviously pretty bad record wise, but if you look at all their games, they're putting up like some of the highest amount of points in the league right now, and they're just giving up the most amount of points in the league right now. So,
yeah, I only think they suck on defense.
Yeah. So to me, like, if they suck on defense and I have a quarterback in there that is in Brian Hoyer, if that was the case this week, like, why would I want Brian Hoyer? Because he's not really like exploit you, throw the ball down. He's not hand it off and like throw like a 5-yard pass. That guy, we need to score points against a team like this. Like, we're going to have to like get the ball down the field and throw it to our receivers and like score points. Because right now we're scoring amongst like the 22nd or 3rd in the league right now.
Well, I just want to say that, yeah, I think that their defense is what really sucks for the Lions, and that's one thing. You also did just mention Hoyer looked fine before he went out to the injury. He looked like he was able to move the ball at least against them. So why can't he move it against the Detroit Lions? But the last thing I'll say is their offense is completely banged up. Both of their top wide receivers, we already talked about it. Amon St. Brown probably or might not play, questionable. Their number 2 receiver, Josh Reynolds, I believe is his name. He's also banged up. TJ Hawkinson, who just had a career game last week, banged up with an injury. DeAndre Swift, not going to play. That's their starting running back. So it's not necessarily that I think that they suck on offense. It's just that they're so banged up that I feel like our defense can hold them to a few amount of points. You get enough out of Brian Hoyer, or now it's going to be Bailey Zappe, and that's going to get you a win. You don't need to put up necessarily, I don't need like 30 points. I need something in 21 point, 24 point range, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And like, I really think like Brian Hoyer's like, I'll get you like 17. That's like my max if we run the ball well. Like,
and then Jack Jones gets a pick 6, and then you're good.
Yeah, like we can't live on that. We can't like need like defensive touchdown to win games. So like, that's why I think that Bailey Zappe would be a better choice in this situation where we need to obviously score more points than the other team might score. Maybe they don't score. Maybe they're too banged up this week. Maybe their offense takes a huge step back. But I think we're probably going to need at least 24 this week to win. At the very least.
Hey, that might be the case, but like we're discussing right now, they still might not have a ton of trust at all in Bailey Zappe. As much as you and I or anybody else wants to see them go out there and let Bailey Zappe throw the ball all over the field, their game plan might be we're handing it off a million times to Damien Harris and Ramondre Stevenson and seeing what can happen with the offense, with the run game going well. So I don't fully even trust that they're going to let Bailey Zappe go out there and sling it like you think that they might be able to. I think that they're going to hold him back once again and try and just run the ball over this team and maintain the ball control, run out the clock, and don't let the other team have the ball that much. I think that that's probably going to be the game plan, regardless of which quarterback is in there. So, I mean,
yeah, it'll be a conservative game plan moving forward. But like, I mean, I think this week, even if it was Hoyer and Zappe showed you all that in the second half, and like he really didn't do anything wrong. The fumble was Isaiah Wynn's fault. We all know that.
True.
But everything else, like he made literally zero mistakes. So, and like, I don't know, I've watched Brian Hoyer play games, and like, what is it now? Like at like the last 15 or 16 games the man has started, he's lost, dude. I don't want that dude playing for me. Fuck that. Sorry.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I just feel like the combination of the fact that I don't think that Belichick and that coaching staff have any faith in Bailey Zappe, regardless of how much practice he gets in this week. I don't think that they're going to open up the playbook. Like I said before, they didn't even open up the playbook for Mac Jones until what, week 7, 8, 9, something like that? Ridiculous. So why are they going to do it for Bailey Zappe?
I mean, because I think that there's no other choice. I mean, I think it's going to be run heavy. They'll be run heavy. But like, if we get down, they'll probably be at least decent enough to be like, all right, let's like open it up with this kid and see if he can go do some of the things that he did in the college game, you know?
Yeah, could be the case. So, all right, with Bailey Zappe in, well, let's just wrap it up real quick because I do have one other quick topic we're going to get into here. But let's wrap it up real quick. What's your predictions for Sunday? What do you think is going to happen? You think they need at least 24 points? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Bailey Zappe has a big day. I think we honestly look like a pretty well-oiled machine. I think the offense was really coming together in that game. Everything when we were trying to move the ball and score. So I think you're only going to see like progressions from Zappe this week. Now that he got half the reps last week, and now he probably got 110% of the reps this week. Seeing as there's no other quarterback available.
A little bit of Mac, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mac's just there just as a charade because he's just trying to be, I'm trying to get back, but like my ankle's fucking hurt. Like, dude, if you're back, you're not go rehab. Why the fuck you out there?
Right.
And he's mitigating the amount of time it's going to take him, or he's lengthening, I should say, the amount of time it's going to take him to get back by going out there and forcing it too early. It's like stupid.
Yeah.
I can't even like. I'm angered even just thinking about what they're doing. Just putting Mac out there when it's clearly not good. Like he's going to roll it again, and then he's going to really get out, and we're going to be like,
that would suck.
You know,
well, hey, at least we have Bailey Zappe. At least we have Bailey Zappe then.
Yeah.
All right, give me a score prediction real quick, and then I got one more question for you.
Give me Patriots 27, Lions 24.
Jeez, all right, I'm going Patriots 24, Lions 14. I don't think that they're going to score a lot. I honestly think they're that banged up. That's how I feel. So that's all I care about with that. Last thing I wanted to talk about before we end the show, I know we're going to finish up in a second here, but Celtics just signed Blake Griffin. Got to ask, do you like that signing? Are you upset at all that it wasn't like a Carmelo Anthony or somebody else that we've mentioned before? Or are you okay with the fact that it's Blake Griffin?
No, like that's like one of the dudes. I feel like that's probably one of the dudes that we were talking about when we had that conversation. So
yeah, he's down the list.
I think he's probably down the list. Like, yes, like Melo would have been way more dope, but like we'll take Blake Griffin, bro. Like my man's like a former number 1 overall pick. He played, he was great when he was playing at his highest level,
Yeah.
And like we said, like now if he knows his role, he's gonna come in here and give us like a solid 15 minutes here and there, and when we need it, like like he could be a huge role player for us in a potential playoff stretch. Obviously, we have to see how this whole thing looks here with the new coaching and all that, But we'll see as we move along.
Well, I think it was a big move just because of Rob Williams being out. He's going to be an extra big man that you can put in there. Not that, I just don't think that Carmelo would have been able to defensively hold up in that situation. So you bring in Blake Griffin, who's a bigger body. He's actually got a little more consistent with the 3-point range. He's not going to be out there doing flashy dunks or anything like that, but he's a smart veteran, and he's developed a 3-point game, and he's going to give you good defense enough and rebounding. So I'm happy with it. That's really how I feel about it. I think it'll be good, and I'm glad that they went with a big man instead of trying to bring in somebody else that was like more of a forward. You know what I mean? So
No, yeah, like we need the rebounding. We need some size out there with
always.
Quab not being. And like you said, it'll be a good defensive body like here and there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for Blake Griffin. I think he's a good fit here. I always liked Blake Griffin, like when he was like real early and everything like that. So, it's just like it's kind of like when we got like Shaq at the end of his career. Let's see what he's got left.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully more.
hopefully he's got more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Shaq, that was a fun experiment, and it's funny to be even able to say that Shaq was on the Celtics at some point, but we didn't really get much out of him at all, to be honest.
No. He was at the end of the line. Yeah.
My favorite memory of Shaq was I was actually at one of those games with my dad, and you just saw him go down onto the ground, and he went to go get picked up, but instead of putting his feet on the ground, he just let them spin him around completely on the ground. He was just spinning around like a top on his back. It was the most ridiculous thing. This big 7'3" giant human of being just spinning around on their back on the floor. He is a comedian, though. We know he's an entertainer, so that was hilarious.
Oh yeah, gotta love Shaq.
And actually, Blake Griffin's a great entertainer too. That guy, he's funny as heck too. I mean, he's on TV shows now. He's doing the comedian thing kind of on the side. So he does these little weird bit roles. So I don't know. He's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I think I saw like watching the preseason game last night or whatever. I saw like him joking with everybody on the sidelines already. So it already seems like he like fits in with the Celtics roster and chemistry right now. So hopefully that'll lead to good things on the court.
Well, that's the other thing. I think he's going to be a good veteran presence to bring in for, the Tatum and the Jaylen Browns of the world and the rest of that team. I think he'll be able to give that good veteran knowledge and be able to talk in the locker room, and the guys will like him and they'll listen to him. And I'm not gonna my whole thing about Melo was I don't think he's a cancer or anything like that. I think he would be good for them, but I think that a lot of people were worried, oh, Melo's like a loser and like he has that mentality and all that, and he's going to force that onto the players and things like that. So I think that Blake Griffin is the opposite of that, even though technically he's a loser too. He's going to give more of that good mentality. I think he's a positive influence, I would say, overall. So
agreed. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, man. I mean, like I was listening to the new coach talk a little bit yesterday. Seems a little timid, seems a little like fresh and all that. So, like he's definitely in way over his head right now. But who knows? I think I think maybe he'll rise to the occasion. He'll get used to it. He'll have his problems early, just like Ime did a year ago at this time. Ime did not come out to a tremendously hot start. So, I mean, I'm not going to be freaking out unless this team's still doing bad in January plus, like after like Lob Williams comes back and all that,
Right. You have to give him time now at this point. And especially after the way last year started and you saw how they turned things around. But no, I don't have much faith in this leader of men and Cardona or whatever his name is there to kind of get the guys going. But like I said before, this is a finals caliber roster. I'm still expecting the finals for this Celtics squad. I'm sure you are too. So that's where we're at with everything. But I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's actually going to do it for today's episode. I just want to say thank you, Coach, for coming on again. We'll have you on again next week to talk about this Lions game and more Celtics talk as the Celtics get ready to open up their season as well. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate
it. Thank you for having me, bro.
All right, it's time for the gambling segment of the show here. We've got some picks from the Clapp Trap guys, myself included, coming off of a great 5-0 perfect card that I gave you guys last weekend. Hope somebody was betting along with me. I also always parlay all my picks. So I had a great payday on Sunday. It was amazing. I was shocked by some of the actual wins that I got on this one. Obviously, the Vikings and Saints game to start it off, that one worked out well over in London. But the second pick that I had was Titans Colts under 43 points. And they scored 34 points in the first half. So I was completely sweating that one out until the end. Somehow they were able to pull that one off. Love to see that. Cardinals were able to take care of business. Patriots plus 9.5 was an easy one. And then you had Chiefs -1 at the Buccaneers. Another easy one as the Chiefs rolled the Bucs, even though the Bucs ended up scoring some points, especially late. It was a great one there. That was a great weekend for me. I've done this before a couple of times, at least 2 weeks last season. I gave you perfect cards, so I'm due for another one later on. But I got to start off this weekend by saying I absolutely hate the card. I hate every one of the picks. I hate every one of the games. I was forcing myself to choose what I had to pick in this one, so bear with me. It's going to be a tough one for me, and hopefully it's not going to be a tough one for the rest of the guys too, as we did have some brutal cards last weekend. Matt, a tough one. Dan also not that great. But Cam stayed steady, going 3-2 every single week, this time only on college bets. We'll see how he does and how the rest of the guys perform in this one. But once again, I absolutely hate the card. I hate the weekend. So take that for what it is. I'm coming off a perfect 5-0 slate and absolutely hate this one. Last weekend, I didn't really hate the pick. So we'll see how things go in this one. But as we move on, I do want to say we've got 3 voicemails from the guys, and then also I'm going to give my picks. And you know what? Why don't we just start off with my picks in this one here as I pull them up in front of me. What am I doing here? I can't find my own picks that I have. Here we go. I am starting off in this one once again with the London game. We're starting early. Hey, it worked for me last week, so I'm going to keep going with, if there's a London game, I'm going to put in a bet on this one. But instead of going with the over, I'm going with the under in this game. We've got Giants-Packers under 41 points. Man, that's a low under. I know that, but the Packers love playing to their opponent. We just saw that in the Packers-Patriots game. They're going to play down to them. They love to run the ball. The Giants are completely banged up right now. They are without guys like Kenny Golladay, Shepard, even Tony is going to be out in this one. Kadarius Toney, and Richie James is also banged up, though I think he's going to play. So all of the real receiving weapons for the Giants are at least banged up or out in this one. I think that they're going to have a tough time moving the ball against a really good Packers defense. And then I think the Packers are going to run the ball a lot and keep this one a lower scoring game. I'm not even sure if the Giants are really going to score in this one. I would expect the Giants maybe to only score like 7 points at most in this one. Packers are going to do their thing, but I think that keeps it under with a 41 points. So give me Giants Packers under 41 points to start off my card. The next one I'm going with Falcons Buccaneers over 46.5 points in this one. Brady's finally got his weapons back. Mike Evans, you saw what he was able to do against the Chiefs. Even though they weren't able to win, they were able to put up a lot of points. He's got Golladay. He's got Mike Evans. He's got the weapons that he needs to be able to put up points in this one. They're coming off of a tough loss to the Chiefs. Obviously, they're going to want to try and rebound at home. So they're going to be scoring as much as possible. A lot of people thinking Brady's going to go nuts in this one. The Falcons have shown that they can stay in games by scoring points randomly with their interesting offense that they have, led by Marcus Mariota, who nobody has trust in, but their weapons like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, very interesting. I believe they're still going to be able to score in this one, even without Cordero Patterson, as he was put onto IR. They have a couple of running backs, that Algier kid and some other ones that look okay. I think they're going to be able to score in this one, even against a good Buccaneers defense. So give me over 46.5 points in the Falcons-Buccaneers game. Next pick, my third one, is going to be Lions-Patriots. I'm expecting this one to go under 45.5 points. Patriots will once again look to control the clock, run the ball in this one. They're still working with, most likely, and I believe it's going to be Bailey Zappe as their third string quarterback. I don't think they're going to open up the playbook for him. I don't think they're going to be passing all over the place. They don't have a lot of confidence in him. So give me the under in this one, because the Patriots are going to try and control that clock, keep it to a lower scoring game, run the crap out of the ball. And on top of it, the Lions are losing out on a lot of their weapons. They don't have DeAndre Swift. They're going to have their major weapons all banged up. I'm pretty sure that Amon St. Brown is very questionable for this one. TJ Hawkinson is questionable coming off his career game that he had. They're also losing, I believe, their second wide receiver in Josh Reynolds as well. So they are very banged up for offensive weapons. You're coming into play against the Patriots in New England. I think that the Patriots defense is going to step up here, and it's going to be a lower scoring game. So give me under 45.5 points in the Lions-Patriots game. Pick number 4, I'm going with Chargers -2 at the Browns. I believe that the Chargers are starting to figure some things out. Obviously, they were only playing the Texans last week, but you saw what Mike Williams was able to do in that one. They finally got Austin Eckler in the end zone a couple of times. It seems like they're able to handle some things. And even without Bosa, I think that their defense is going to be able to be good enough to stop a Jacoby Brissett-led offense. And though the Browns love to run the ball, I think that they won't be able to score as much against this Chargers team. And I think that the Browns defense is not as good as we thought that they were going to be throughout the beginning of the year. So give me the Chargers -2 at the Browns in this one. I think that's going to be a good pick. Last pick I'm going with is the 8:20 primetime game. Give me Ravens -3.5 at home against the Bengals in the Sunday night game. Ravens coming off of a heartbreaking loss to the Bills, where they gave up a big 17-point lead and just lost 23-20 late in that game. Bengals are coming off of a win against the Miami Dolphins, which in all honesty, they probably only won because Tua got hurt in that one. And then the Dolphins didn't really have much the rest of the way. So even though the Bengals have looked a little better recently, I still like the Ravens to be able to handle this one at home in prime time, coming off of a loss, a heartbreaking loss. Give me the hungry dog. Hungry dogs run faster, so I'm taking Ravens -3.5 at home against the Bengals. Those are my 5 picks. Now, once again, I have to reiterate my point. I hate the card. I hate this whole entire weekend. So we'll see how that goes. See what that means. I don't know if you should be following or fading me in this one because I'm coming off that perfect weekend, but I hate it. I hate all these picks. I was forced to do this. So let's move on. We got some other guys' picks to get into here. I'm going to start off with Matt, who didn't have that great of a weekend last week. I'm sure he's going to tell you all about it. So let's get into his picks next. Here we go.
Well, not a lot to say after last week. I'm going to try and get some picks this time, but I think, like I said back in August to everyone listening, if you fade me, you're probably going to be a very rich person. So, maybe try that again this week. All right. First one, I'm going Vegas Raiders, Kansas City Chiefs over 51. I think these two teams are going to keep it. They're going to keep going back and forth. I think the Raiders, I almost took the +7 Raiders purely because they've been within a touchdown of all these games, even though they've lost the majority of them. But I like the over 51. Lock that up. Tennessee, Washington over 43. I don't think Tennessee's defense is nearly as good as it used to be. Carson Wentz can sling it a little bit, get that catch from Samuel. So I think that between the two, they'll be able to put up over 43 points. Seattle traveling into New Orleans +5.5. I'm taking it. New Orleans has been such a weird team to bet on this year, but they start so damn slow, and I've got Geno fever. It's Geno time in Seattle, so book that one. Fourth pick, Dallas +5.5. Another 5.5 line. I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here. I want Dallas +5.5 points going into Los Angeles. I believe in this Dallas team for this stretch of the regular season. I don't know if they'll hold up. Probably won't. But I also do not believe in the Rams' ability to put up points and to make this a blowout against Dallas. I think it's going to be a one-score game. Lastly, another division matchup: Cincinnati-Baltimore over 48. I think Baltimore, you can show you they're putting up points on anybody, and I think Cincinnati can put up enough to make up the difference. All right, let's hope for not another 0-5 week. Thanks.
All right, well, so those are his picks, and he didn't go 0-5, though. I will say, I'll give him a little credit. He did have a push on that Vikings -3 at the Saints. So he pushed that one. He went 0-4-1. So hopefully, you can only really get better. Well, I guess technically you could get a little worse, but oh boy, we'll see how things go. I like his picks, though. We'll see how he likes them after the weekend. I'm sure we'll have him on next week to talk more about it. Let's move on to our next set of picks. So we got Mendez's picks next. Here we go.
Clapp Trap, really need a bounce back week here. All right, first prop, I like James Robinson over 62.5 rushing yards against Houston. I think the Jaguars will get up big on them early. I think they're just going to pound the ball. He's been looking good this year. Really like that one. Second one, Dalvin Cook over 12.5 receiving yards versus Chicago. Chicago lets up some of the most yards receiving to running backs. He's due another week healthy. They'll probably get him the ball more. Number 3, Saquon over 26.5 receiving yards against Green Bay. Giants don't have anyone else. They're down Sterling Shepard. on Galladay. Not that he meant much. Serious. I don't think Wandell Robinson will be ready, so it's just going to be out of necessity. Fourth one, I like Damien Harris, over 60.5 rushing yards versus Detroit. I just think he's very underrated. He's been solid all year. Maybe Zappe at quarterback, much as Cam likes that, they're just going to pound the ball. Fifth one, Mark Andrews, over 62.5 receiving yards versus the Bengals. They're going to have to keep up with the Bengals. Rashad Bateman's probably going to be out with a foot injury. And, Lamar Jackson's just going to force feed him the ball. Feeling good this week. All right, let's have a winning week.
There we go. That's the idea that we want. Let's have a good week. Let's keep the vibes high. And hopefully Danny will be able to get back on the winning streak. And with his, picks here, player prop picks, he might have a good chance. He's got some good ones there. All right, time to finish off with Mr. 3-2 himself. Every single week he goes 3-2. That's Cam. Here we go. What does Cam have for us?
Hey, y'all. It's Cam here, back with the picks for the week. Actually got all 5 in the NFL this week. We'll start with the Vikings and Bears under 44. The Bears have one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. And Minnesota's offense is pretty good, but they play at a really slow pace. Next is the Steelers plus 14 against the Bills. I think the QB change from Trubisky to Pickett is a big upgrade. And so 14 is just too many points. I got the Texans plus 7 against the Jaguars. I just think that the Jaguars shouldn't be 7-point favorites against anybody yet. And Houston's been pretty good at covering these big spreads. Next, we got the Buccaneers minus 9 against the Falcons. I think the Bucs are finally healthy. And this was a smash spot for them against the Bears defense. And last is the Eagles minus 5 against the Cardinals. I just think the Cardinals have one of the worst defenses in the league, and Philly's offense has been dominant so far. So to recap, we have the Vikings, Bears under 44, Steelers plus 14, Texans plus 7, Buccaneers minus 9, Eagles minus 5.
All right, some good picks for Cam as well. Like I said, gone 3-2 every single week, so just barely over that, but still winning weeks every single week. And I'm glad to hear him feeling better off of his COVID stint that he did go through. Last week's voicemail, the energy was very low. This one, back to normal. So glad to hear that Cam is recovering nicely from his COVID. But that is going to do it for the picks for this weekend. We'll see how everybody does. The standings are very close right now. We need another good week for the guys overall to get everybody back up in there because it's still early in the competition. And once again, I just want everyone to do good. I want to be giving out winners here. That's what we're trying to do. And yes, I gave out a ton of winners last weekend, but we need all the guys to be giving out winners, at least for now, until the competition really heats up towards the end. And then I want all of their picks to be bad. And I want to win the competition. But that's a whole nother story for another time. All right. That's going to do it for today's episode, and that's going to do it for the gambling picks. I appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching along. We will be back again next week to talk all about these picks and everything else that's going on. I appreciate it. See you guys later.